Hi. There are two handouts that everybody should have. The first one is for the King County Executive. This one. If you don't have one of these, would you hold your hand up, please? All right. Can one of our volunteers distribute these? Fran, do you want to do that? Bob, you're wandering around. Do you want to do this as well? I'll need two more volunteers as well. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and then there's the second one for the second half of tonight's program for the school board. And if you have sharp eyes, you can see something that is in error on that first page. What is the error on first page? You get a free cup of coffee if you know.
Nicely. When you get the microphone, hold it to your mouth like an ice cream cone. Please stand where you are.
It's Seattle School Board.
Yes, not King County School Board. Okay, if you don't have a school board handout, and it starts with Landon Labosky, who won't be with us tonight, unfortunately. Hold up your hand if you don't have a school board handout. And Dorothy, can I talk you, or maybe Sue, to hand these out to people who have their hand up? And then we'll start in about 3 minutes. Okay. Oop.
Testing 1, 2, 3, everybody.
Hello, Joel.
She knocked it down here.
You're welcome. Thank you. And do I have what I'm supposed to have? Yes. 2 pages. Okay, thank you.
Looks like John Wilson may not be coming. Why don't we slide you over?
Let's wait till you just check.
Well, let's give him a chair in case.
Because Grandma's here.
Yes, and then why don't you slide with your chair over, and then this, oh no, and that would be, make that John Wilson's chair. This becomes your chair, and I'm gonna bring my chair here.
2, 6.
If you would. There you go. There you go. Now, wanting the end of the table. Yeah, so crowd out.
Is John coming?
Who knows?
new firecracker, so about as safe as it gets. That's the way to go, for sure.
It is 7:30, but we're waiting for the filming capacity to kick in. So it'll be another few minutes. No, that was resolved. Good evening and welcome to the Horizon House Election Forum for King County Executive and Seattle School District, not King County School District number 5. We welcome you here. Thank you for being the good citizens to attend and make this a successful evening. I have some comments for the candidates. First, when you speak, would you stand up in your chair, or not in your chair, at your chair? You can stand on your chair if you want, but I don't know. And the other thing is, these microphones are very finicky, and you want to hold them horizontal and near your mouth. It's like smoking a cigar. Now, all you ladies have smoked cigars, but only a couple of our candidates are ladies. They probably have smoked cigars, right? All right. So this evening we're going to start with the King County Executive, and they have been sent a question to answer in their opening statement. They have 2 minutes. After that, I have a set of questions that I will ask them one at a time, and they will have 1 minute to answer the question. And then when we have exhausted the time for questions, see, it's easy to forget to hold it up. When we've exhausted the time for questions, they will have 2 minutes each for a closing statement, and we will conclude that and make a switch out. Don't start wandering off. We have the school board after this, so we have a full program. So if you are ready, are we ready? Yes. Very good. The first question is, why are you a candidate for the King County Executive? What are your goals and emphasis in this position, and how will you accomplish those goals? And let's start with Girmay Zahali. How was that?
Not good, but we can.
I tried.
Tim, we
Girmay.
there you go, Tim. Tim and I practiced 100 times, and you can see that it was effective at the end. Just kidding, Tim. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Girmay Zahalai, like my guy Girmay, if that helps some of you. I am the chair of the King County Council, and I'm running for county executive because I believe with thoughtful leadership and effective collaboration, this region can be a region of safety and opportunity for everyone. And I know what it can be because I know what this region was for me and my family. When I was 3 years old, we fled Sudan as refugees and came to the United States. I was raised in South Seattle in public housing like Rainier Vista and New Holly, and because of a thoughtful local government in collaboration with a strong private sector, my family was able to go from living in public housing and even experiencing homelessness in the CID to graduating from Franklin High School, going on to graduate from law school, starting my own youth education nonprofit, going and working at some of the top law firms in the country, and now serving as chair of the King County Council. I'm running for county executive, though, because that story of opportunity is not available for enough people. And in fact, my story today would be literally impossible because the president just banned people from countries where I was from even entering the country in the first place. That's where we are. The next county executive is going to have to make this a region of safety and opportunity for everyone, and that means expanding affordable housing. That means addressing the public safety crisis. That means expanding more mental health and addiction services for those that are in need. It means contending with all of the budget cuts that we're experiencing from the federal government. Thousands of people are going to lose Medicaid in these next couple of years because of what the federal government has done, and King County is going to have to bear the brunt of that. We have public health clinics, we have a public health system, and a lot of that is going to have to be either bolstered or reprioritized to make sure that we're helping the people who are most in need. So I am running for county executive so that we can deliver an effective regional government services, but also work with our regional partners to make this a place where anyone can thrive. Thank you.
Next, Derek Chartrand.
Tim, thank you very much. And that was the correct pronunciation of Chartrand. So, Jeremiah, I'm sorry for you. Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you as a community right now for inviting all of our candidates to come down tonight to not only share with you, but also listen to you and understand what the important elements to you guys are. So specifically, I am a candidate for King County Executive. I am the only candidate on the panel here that was born and raised here in King County. So I love this community. I've raised my family here. I've had opportunities to see what other countries offer from what other regions within our country offer as well. East Side was where we're from, so born and raised over there. Went to college in the Bay Area, so UC Berkeley, and studied environmental science. Currently, I work in the environmental industry, so that's a very hot button for me as I want to leave our next generation better than we are today. And we have opportunities with technology to leave an indelible mark on our future generation. So running for King County Executive, this role is a quarterback of our county. You know, we're not going to be doing all of the pencil tabulations. Jeremiah went to Stanford, I went to Cal, but we've got some good opportunities for brain power right here. So we look forward to listening to you all, learning from what's important, and then we can lead collectively as a unified body so we can make tomorrow better than today. We've left our county right now in a dire shambles. As Jeremiah mentioned it, we've got a budget deficit that we're having to face. There's going to be future budget implications with less funding from the federal government, so we're going to have to be fiscally conservative. It's a word I want to say in here is fiscally conservative, addressing some of the issues that I deem close to the heart, which is homelessness, crime.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Next is Don Rivers.
Testing. Hello, good evening, good afternoon. I'm Donnell Rivers, your candidate for King County Executive, and I feel at home. And many of you probably wondering what I mean when I say that. At the age of 25, I started a ministry here, and I went around to different ones, and I ministered to them. And I remember one lady I ministered to, she had planted a tree out in the corridor out there. And she told me, she says, "You can read that Bible, but I'm racist." And I said, "Well, that's funny, because the words in here are black and white." She said, "Well, you can come in and read it." So I went in and I read, and after a while, she had her hand on top of my hand. And I said, "I thought you said you was racist." She said, "I thought I was too." Opening statement, because of the fact I feel at home, I also feel at home as being your next county executive. I've worked for King County for 40 years. I started in Metro Transit as an inspector. I ended in the administration office with Bob Gannon, training his vice general manager when I had 2 shoulder injuries, and then COVID hit, so I retired. So I know the county very well. I know the bus drivers. I know the housing part. I know that the county personally is in debt. So those that are sitting here that worked on the council, shame. See, every area has a pig with legs. The legs have been broken, the pig's on his belly, and that's emergency funds. We are stuck right now. Thank you. We're stuck, and we have to find a way to figure it out. And I'm so diverse, I know I can accomplish it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Claudia Balducci.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is so good to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for turning out and for caring about our county's elections. My name is Claudia Balducci. I am a council member at King County. I was asked if I have been here before, and the answer is I have not, because I've run in East King County up until now. I represent District 6, which is Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, Mercer Island, and the Points communities. I'm a former mayor of the city of Bellevue. But I have worked for King County for 25 years. We got some competition going on here. Also graduated from Columbia Law School, so you can judge us all by our affiliations. Columbia. I started at King County as a line staffer and worked my way up to run a department. I ran the Department of Adult and Juvenile Detention. And we, while I was there, ran a reform effort where we improved the conditions within the jails and started doing mental health treatment and things that had not been done before. I am dedicated to this county for a number of reasons. I've worked here 25 years, as I said, and I've raised my family here. We have a young kiddo, now an adulto, I guess I have to say, who graduated from high school 2 weeks ago. And I want our kid to be able to live in our county and have the same type of quality of life and all the things that we love about this county. Opportunity for jobs, opportunity to buy a home or to rent a home, to be safe, to be able to travel around. And I think that local government really matters. Local government has to work for those things to be true. They are not true for too many people here. And so that's what I want to do. I would love to be the county executive. Can you tell me what that means? I don't think anybody said. All right, better go fast. We need to fix homelessness. We need to fix housing prices. We need to make sure our public safety system works. And the reason I know I can do these things is because I have already done them, and I look forward to talking to you tonight.
Thank you, Claudia. Finally, the candidate for county executive that's with us today is Amia Ingram.
Oh, that was really
Did I
great.
pronounce your first name
It
right?
was close enough. I like that. It was
Okay.
great. Hi, everyone. My name is Amaya Ingram. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama, and I actually moved up here to you guys' area to start off with my career. My first job out of college was at Microsoft. And of course, I've been affected by the layoffs. But while I was there, I got an opportunity to start a business called Shape Share Wear, which really focused on changing the way that people felt about their insecurities. And what do I mean by that? It allowed people to bridge the gap between where they were and where they wanted to be physically through clothing. And through that, we were able to build a community of people coming from all different walks of life. We were able to give back to the community through events, and we were even able to serve the homeless community. And it was during that time that I questioned, what is it that we can do on a greater scale that will bring some of the ideals from this business, from this community, into a space that really truly needs it, needs more unity, needs more collaboration. And that is exactly what pushed me to run for King County Executive. When I looked to see the positions that were available in this area and the impact that I wanted to make, there was no question about if it should be me or if it not should be me. The only thing that I wanted to do is figure out how to get my name on that ballot. And I have done so independently with no funds from any parties, PACs, or unions. I am completely independently funded because of what I stand in. And that is belief in the human being and rights and access for all, whether that be through free public transportation, cap on property taxes, or just free Medicaid and Medicare for anyone who needs it. I have a family member that literally just passed away just literally last week from issues with their health, and having the right support and having the, around the clock support. So I really do stand beside these issues. I hope to talk to you guys a little bit more tonight. And thank you all for allowing us in this space. We're ready to have a little fun.
Thank you. Would you pronounce your first name again?
Yes, it's Amaya.
Amaya.
Yes,
What a
thank you.
beautiful name.
Oh, thank you.
Now, so often in these circumstances, we go through alphabetical calling on the candidates to answer questions. As someone whose last name begins with a letter very close to the beginning of the alphabet, I've had that advantage all my life, and I hate it. So I've really created funny lists of the order in which we're going to call candidates, and the first one is based on the order in which the candidates have filed for office. So this question, which probably is misnamed question 1 because it's really question 2, and you get the pattern there. I'm going to read it twice. Since the candidates don't have the question in front of them, they're welcome to stand up and look at the screen if you want. What priorities would you use in making budget decisions to address anticipated funding shortfalls from the state and federal government? Sam? Yes, that's 1. Misnamed 1. The candidates all answered number 1 in their opening statement. This should have been listed as question number 2. All right, so are you with me? Okay, I'm going to read it again. What priorities would you use in making budget decisions to address anticipated funding shortfalls from the state and federal government? And I'm going to use as I threatened, the order of filing. Don Rivers, you filed after Bill Hurt. Bill Hurt is another candidate for county executive, and when I called him to invite him to tonight, he told me, I didn't file to win, and hung up the phone. I didn't even have a chance to ask him, so why'd you file? Anyway, so we will skip Mr. Hurt unless he's welcome to come here tonight. And then go ahead, Don. Your time starts now.
Thank you.
1 minute.
Thank you for the question. King County is in debt. I say that way for a reason. If we were to look at each one of the council members and found out where the debt came from of their responsibilities, I can tell you one area is the sheriff's department. And if that's the case, then I would have to monitor what went on in the sheriff's department. And I'll tell you why I said that. The sheriff's department ends up with an opportunity of taking care of 39 cities. They have to have negotiations of contracts. But in those contracts is not the ability to understand whether it's going to be a riot. By the way, we the ones, raise your hand, Sharice, we're the ones that stopped the CHOP riot. So what you have to understand is the debt has a reason. And then we have a split area of where there's an annual and biannual session where we can look at things. We're not monitoring things right. So I
Thank
would
you,
look at
Don.
that first.
Next, Claudia Balducci.
Thank you so much. The county's not allowed to run at a deficit. Unlike the federal government, we cannot be in the red. We have to balance our budget. So debt is not an issue for our operating funds. What is an issue is the loss of state funding, the structural challenge with the fact that our government county funding does not keep up with the cost of providing basic services, and the potential loss of federal funding. We're facing cuts to our fund that pays for cops, courts, corrections, the general fund. We're going to be looking at ways to fill that this year. Before anybody gets to be the next county executive, we're going to have to figure out that budget, and that is a discussion I encourage you to follow. We are going to lose a lot of money in Medicaid, but not this year, next year, when the federal government's cuts to Medicaid kick in, and a lot of people are going to be at risk of losing their health care. King County government needs to work to protect our people and make sure that we are funding things that people need here, because we can't rely on other levels of government to do it for us right now.
Thank you. Next is Gurmai Zahile.
Next time you're going to do even better. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, we are in a dire position when it comes to our budget right now, because structurally and permanently the state government has made it so that our costs are always going to outpace our revenues at King County. And so the things that we can do are, number one, we have to be able to save the services that come out of our general fund. My colleague Claudia said it exactly right. The general fund is what funds our core services, the things people care about most. Sheriff's service, courts, prosecutors. Before Executive Constantine left office, he said we would, if we don't find new revenue, we're going to have to make $30 million of cuts to the sheriff's office, $15 million of cuts to prosecutors, $15 million of cuts to Superior Court. I know our community can't tolerate this, so we are proposing to tap into a new tool that the state government gave us in the form of a criminal justice sales tax. Number two, we have to just be more efficient with the dollars that we have. My proposal is that we reallocate many internal facing managerial positions to
Thanks,
more boots on the
Gurmai.
ground services outside. Oh, sorry.
Amia, say it again. Amaya.
Oh, you guys know, yeah.
So the emphasis on the second syllable.
Oh yeah, it's okay. It's all right as long as you know on the ballot. No, just like, yeah. So the budget. So a lot of the hypotheses I have around the budget start with evaluating what we're doing right now. And specifically what I mean by that is kind of doing an audit on how we're spending the money. I've actually taken a look at the 400-page budget, and I've seen some of the items like $10,000 for like a fire alarm, you know, like something crazy like that. So I would want to really evaluate what's being itemized in the list, see if we actually need it, and see if that's where we can do some reallocation. But I also believe in pumping money back into our small businesses so that we can raise the amount of sales tax that we are getting in the area. We also have a very prominent airport that flies internationally. How can we look at increasing tourism, making sure they're coming to our downtown areas, whether it's through light rail or, you know, our electric buses. There are a lot of things that we can do. And also working with tech companies to create conferences where engineers actually come here to get learnings and actually maybe want to work here, start a life here. So yeah, just a few.
Thank you. Okay. Next is we're actually Derek.
Derek. It
Derek.
leaves Derek up here on
Derek
the stage.
Chartrand.
That's quick math. Thank you, Tim. So I think one of the things that we've got to understand is, again, we didn't get here overnight. We got in this position over 14 plus years with Dow as head of the county. So we have to chart a new course from what we've done to put us in the situation here. The first thing that we all do is understand our budgets. We have to do an introspective look and see where we are with revenue and with expenditures. Once we do that, we're able to then tap into our gifted public servants and prioritize what needs to be spent as critical and then what has the opportunity to be downsized. So for us, we can't get this done overnight, but we look forward to listening to all of the department heads and understand where we can make cuts in the budget and also drive opportunity. So that's the big difference that we've got now, is we have a time to chart a new course with Chartrand. Thank you, everybody.
All right, that takes us to the next question. What would you do to repair the King County Regional Housing Authority to make it more effective? Again, what would you do to repair the King County Regional Housing Authority to make it more effective? And, excuse me, for this question, I'm going to call on candidates in alphabetical order of their first name. Amia Ingram, did I get it right?
It's all right. We're going to work on it, and it's going to be great by the end of the night. Yeah, so the housing issue, this is number one priority for me. And a lot of people on this, this platform might be like, oh, that's crazy, but I actually do believe in housing over transit. And I say that because I personally don't feel like in my life I would buy a car and live out of my car before I buy like a house. So therefore I wouldn't invest in transit before I make sure that people are off of the streets. So the number one thing that I would do is implement emergency housing, a tent that could house 17,000 individuals, that has access to documentation services, food, workout, mental health, a whole program to implement these people who are experiencing mental health, drug, or just unemployment issues back into our society so that they can work and help grow our economy. A lot of the people that are on the street, it may be from a lack of availability, but it's also just from having the access to be able to put their name into these government initiatives with the correct paperwork and support.
Next is Claudia Balducci.
Thank you so much. I believe you're asking about homelessness, and homelessness is the biggest problem that I hear about from my constituents. It is the thing that people care about us fixing the most. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority is an organization that was put together of the cities and the county in order to work together. That is the right path. We have to work together. Homelessness doesn't know boundaries. However, if the institution isn't working, then we need to reform the institution. As mayor of Bellevue, I made a handshake deal with the mayors of Kirkland and Redmond, and we built the first ever suite of permanent homeless shelters in East King County, along with permanent supportive housing, which is where people get medical care, mental health care, drug addiction treatment if they need it, so that they can stabilize in housing. And we know how to do this. We have to scale up the effort, and we have to do it in partnership with our 39 cities. I am really proud to be a housing partner with all of the cities, and that's why I've been endorsed by most of the mayors of King County. And I'm really looking forward to working with them because there's a lot of resources going into this now. We need to spend it more efficiently.
Thank you. Next is Derek Chartrand.
So I'm good with numbers, and I'm also good with letters. So thank you very much again for coming out tonight. And homelessness is one of the core issues that I campaign on. What we've done to one of the other candidates mentioned here is that homelessness knows no bounds. But what it does know is beacons. And so what King County has become over the last 10 years, we've been the dead-end street for homelessness beginning here in America. We have been very generous. I'm a compassionate capitalist. Common sense with compassion, though, is how I run my life and my family. So we can provide services, but we are not here to facilitate homelessness from throughout the country, which we see on our streets. So we have to have compassion, but we have to do it with common sense. So thank you again very much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Derek. Don Rivers.
This is a program that we created called the 3 Ls. The ability to listen, learn, and then lead. We're not using that. Homelessness is the most viable area. Homelessness is the most viable area of untapped positive resources. Those people didn't ask to be out there. They have mental illness. The mental illness has led to homelessness and other health issues. I was offered $950 million to eradicate homelessness in Washington State. I plan to tap that money to give it to King County to create housing and do that project.
Thank you. Goodbye.
I'm used to being last because of my last name, but not because of my first name. So this is a new experience for me. We have a homelessness crisis in King County, and I think there are a few things that we can do to make the KCRHA better. Number one, even if King County Regional Homelessness Authority operated at maximal effectiveness, it still wouldn't be able to solve the crisis unless we expand supply of housing, emergency housing, mental health, behavioral health services. So number one, we have to increase supply of all of the things so that there are more places for people to go. Number two, we have to make it easier to cite stuff. even if we had the money for all of these tiny house villages and emergency housing and shelter, it would still be a battle to site things. I helped site the very first tiny house village outside of the city of Seattle in Skyway, and that took establishing a community preference. It took stakeholdering, a meeting with local level leadership and people who live out there to gain their trust. We need to really have a big focus on siting. And lastly, I'll say we need to be better at coordination. We need to have a very tight collaboration between the executive, the mayor, the suburban cities, our private sector, our nonprofit sector, our faith community. It really is going to take all of us working together to solve this problem.
Thank you. All right, the next question, which is probably labeled question 3 incorrectly. What can King County do to improve public safety and improve response time in cities and in the unincorporated areas? Again, what can King County do to improve public safety and improve response time in cities and in the unincorporated areas? And for this, I'm going to do a random order. Derek, you get to be first.
Sometimes random is good. You win the lottery one time in your life. So, Tim, thank you very much for that. Public safety and improvements on that. One of the things we have to do is recognize the problem we have. So we've just lost recently a Metro service coach driver, which is unconscionable for what we have as infrastructure for our county. We need to prioritize and fully fund the sheriff's department. The bottom line is we have to understand our budget, reprioritize so that we are fully funding. Safety is something that you guys see on a first-hand basis. If you do any shopping, any walking around your neighborhood, we see Seattle as that cauldron of despair, and we want to be able to provide solutions. So ultimately, funding fully the sheriff's department and then those services through the prosecutorial.
Prosecutorial.
Thank you very much. This is teamwork up here, so I love that. Together we can make a difference.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim.
All right, next is your seatmate, Girmay, whose last name I have trouble pronouncing.
You did it though. Good job. Thank you, Tim. I know a lot of people feel like because we're in the city of. Uh-oh. Can my time restart, please? Thank you.
We're having trouble with our timers.
No worries at all.
I'd offer the honor system with a politician, but we know that's not a good thing.
Maybe I'll just start and kind of mentally time it. I know some people might feel like because we're in the city of Seattle, King County doesn't.
Up by your mouth, please.
I know some people might feel like because we're in the city of Seattle, King County doesn't have public safety nexus that's all through Seattle Police Department, but that's not true. Two primary ways that King County can contribute to your public safety. Number one, almost the entire criminal justice system outside of your local police goes through King County, and we need to make sure that it's funded. We talked about earlier that we have a huge general fund shortfall and that we're proposing a criminal justice sales tax to backfill these services. I'm the prime sponsor of this legislation, so that's number one, stabilize our criminal justice system. Number two, a lot of the public health system goes through King County as well, and we know that there is a connection between some of the people who are suffering from addiction and mental health issues and some of the public safety concerns. And so as somebody who was the prime sponsor and champion of the Crisis Care Centers initiative, I want to continue to invest in the mental health and addiction recovery system.
Thanks. Next is Don Rivers. Wait, Don, wait until the noise stops. Okay. Sandy, you got it okay now? Oh, sure. Don has asked me to repeat the question. I'm happy to do that for Don and any candidate. What can King County do to improve public safety and improve response time in the cities and in the unincorporated areas?
Thank you for the question. You can hear me, right? Okay, good. King County is the leader of Washington State county-wise. The problem we have with crime doesn't mean we need more police. We need restructuring of the police department. I did a program with the Republican Party on racial profiling. I know the streets. I grew up in the streets of Detroit, so I know crime. We can get rid of 50% of the crime. We'll never get rid of crime because our country was built on organized crime. But we can lower crime. And what we must understand is when people do crime, it's because they don't have something that they need. So we have to work with the people to get it, and it's not resolving it with police. Thank you. Did I have more time?
No, I lost my place. Claudia?
Thank you. As a former public safety official myself, I will tell you, bad things happen when you have understaffed, undertrained public safety departments. We need to fill our staffing deficiencies in the sheriff's office, in the jails. And we're about to take up a vote to add additional transit safety officers, because one of the things that we do at King County is we provide the transit police for the entire county transit system. And so these are ways that we can support public safety within Seattle. And we will never, ever arrest our way to a healthy community. We have to invest in mental health treatment, public health, and not just that, go all the way up to education and job training, because when people have hope and when they have a path in life, they don't need to be involved in criminal activity. And we also need to make sure that we are working on racial disproportionality in our criminal justice system. You just walk down the hallways of the jail and you can see it, and we need to do better while providing public safety.
Thanks. Amia?
Oh, you can let me know if I can start. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do is, number one, focus on getting people off the street. I know we talked about this earlier, but I think that just crime on transit, it most likely comes from people who are just looking for a place to take shelter, looking for a place to escape, and they're getting like from one place to another place, and it's really causing us to have a lot more trouble and not see the fruits of our labor and investments when we're looking at public transit. Also implementing a two-person rider or two-driver rider system so that a driver never feels like they have to drive alone. If a situation gets out of control, they feel like they have support. Also offering free transit so people don't feel like, oh, you know, maybe they have to be violent on it. It will be behavioral so we can make sure that the conduct is correct to receive the pass. There's so many things. And also just having maybe even in those unincorporated areas for crime. Oh, I'll get to that next time.
Thank you. All right, we're ready for question number 4. In what ways can King County Executive and Council, working with municipalities, present a solid front of the county's needs and priorities in addressing the legislature? In what ways can the King County Executive and Council, working with municipalities, present a solid front of the county's needs and priorities in addressing the legislature? And Claudia, will you start us off, please?
Thank you very much. I love this question, because this is the way that we break through so many of the intractable challenges that we have. When we work together, the executive, the council, all of our cities and our stakeholders, we can make a lot of change. When I came onto the county council, for example, we were not doing a lot in the way of supporting affordable housing. We really didn't have an affordable housing program. We just had some pass-through dollars. I organized all of the cities of King County and the executive and some employers, housing providers, advocates to come up with a path towards dramatically increasing affordability through our comprehensive plans. And that is a path, working together to make change. If we can work together on that, we can work together on legislative agendas and go to this. We have a lot of power in Olympia when we have all 39 of us together doing this. And it is exactly the relationships I have built, including as a former president of the Puget Sound Regional Council, which is a 4-county body. Thank you.
Thank you. Amaya Ingram? Amaya?
Yes, thank you.
Amaya?
Yes, thank you.
Amaya?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all right. Thank you.
I'm old.
Oh yeah, it's okay. Thank you. So I think it's about collaboration. I talked about that earlier, but creating a schedule that allows all 39 cities to meet up on a rotational basis, whether that be every week, bi-weekly, monthly. Also, kind of doing a surveying aspect. What we have now, bringing in citizens and asking them what they want. Having all 39, council representatives or from each city there so that they can actually hear in person and take accountability for some of the direction that the county is going. I believe in an open line of communication, and I believe that once that we are transparent with the public as leadership and they can express what they would like from us, we can create kind of a united front and come together to the leadership with transparency and motivations of what we need to get done and why we need to get done. And having the people behind us will hold us more accountable into making sure those changes are accurately reflected.
Thank you, Amaya. Derek, please.
All those mystery selections, you can't predict it anymore. To everyone here on the panel, I think we all are collaborative people. And I think that's the first element that we have to do is build relationships. It's something that we do as a community, as a whole. It's something that you've done here as your community within Horizon House. You build relationships, learn about each other, understand characteristics, strengths, and gifts. Not everyone has the same gift. One of my strengths is the ability to collaborate with people, to listen, learn, and lead, but also to make sure people feel included. And that's the worst thing to do, is not include somebody that wants their voice heard. So we have to have that forum, and that's the first thing, is build the relationships with Gurmai, with Claudia, with Reagan, with the whole council to understand we need to pull together. And as the CEO of the county, we can then do great things collaboratively. So I look forward to being your next King County executive. Thank you very much.
Gurmai?
King County currently has lobbying efforts and a lobbying department, and it needs to be much stronger. What I often hear from our state legislative partners is that the King County executive came to us too late in the process and didn't have an effective coalition behind what we were trying to do. My wife was the legislative director for both the Attorney General and the Governor for a long time, so I've seen what effective lobbying looks like. It means stakeholdering much earlier, forming a broad coalition of people who agree with you, elevating what those priorities are, putting them on paper, identifying prime sponsors in both the Senate and the House, and then using that broad coalition to push toward every legislative checkpoint until you pass a bill. It means writing op-eds, it means marching, it means forming those coalitions as strong as possible, and we need to do that more effectively. I think that the next King County executive has a really strong opportunity to make our lobbying efforts much stronger.
Thank you. Now we're ready for question number 5. Did I? I am sorry. Don? Please, make it up to me.
Anybody remember the black and white Oxford shoes? Raise your hand right quick. Because that's when I was about 19 trying out for the Seahawks. Black Oxford shoes. I met Peter Van Rottenmeier, I met Ron Sims, because they just started the Kingdom, and I was a newbie, but I wouldn't cross the picket line. I said that to say this. Elected officials are territorial. I've advised them for over 50 years. I know. And you ain't going to come in their territory and tell them how to run their territory about your territory. There needs to be 3 opportunities where the community, elected officials, law enforcement, meet before the legislative term starts. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Don. Now we're ready for question 5, I think. What additional steps can the county take to address climate change issues? Be specific. What additional steps can the county take to address climate change issues? Don, would you start us off with that?
That back-to-back thing, that's good. I used to play ball, so when you get the ball back, after you made a basket, you ready to make another one? You can't miss it, though. When it comes to climate change, first thing I would like to do is look at the environment in a way of Puget Sound, Vashon Island, which needs a sewer treatment plant. I have to look at that. They've asked me several times about it. Also, the sewage plant we have at King County has several times overran and cost us money. So therefore, we have to look at how we're processing the sewage system. The climate change issue deals with the runoffs of water. You know about the kids that have passed away. A lot of that happened because the dredging wasn't done, the water wasn't running the right way, but water runs to water, nowhere else.
Thank you. Girmay.
The number one emitters of carbon in our region are cars, and because King County is the public transit government, we have a huge responsibility around climate change. The number one thing we can do is continue to expand effective, reliable, safe public transit options. That means more King County Metro. That means more effective, reliable, sound transit options. That means investing in infrastructure so more people can bike and roll or scooter, whatever they need to do to get out of cars. That's number one. Number two, King County also plays a major role in conservation. Many parts of the east side, we buy up rural farmland, forest land, preserve it so that it's not getting developed. We can also use our comprehensive planning to direct development into our urban core so that we're not promoting sprawl. We know that sprawl contributes to more emissions and also destroys our beautiful habitats out in the rural and farm and forest areas. Those are all things that we need to do better.
Thank you. Amaya?
Yeah, so for climate change, I agree with Girmay, just investing more in our public transportation system, specifically electric buses. I do love the light rail idea. I think it's amazing, but I think that there are like a lot of points where people have been let down, whether it's not expanded to their area or it's just not, it hasn't expanded to their area. So my main focus would just to be to increase the amount of ridership we have, people riding on the public transit, and doing that by allowing free public transit for employers, for senior citizens, for students, different class levels of demographics, as well as determining what and where we allow small businesses or corporations to actually build. I think that has a growing opportunity to become problematic as we see technology kind of taking over. The amount of energy it takes to kind of build some of these advanced things that they're talking about in the news and things like that, it's really not great for the environment.
Thank you. Derek?
Sure. You bet, Sandy.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. And thank you for that question. This is a question that's near and dear to my heart. For the last 21 years, I've worked in the environmental industry. We reduce carbon footprint by using technology that helps to lower carbon footprint of anything that's internal combustion. So what I would do is make a directive for King County Metro to invest and look into technology that's available that will lower the carbon footprint as we transition to a more costly potential solution of full electrification. But there are short-term wins that we can have using something like our technology that I represent. So environmental industry is, again, something dear to my heart. We need to leave our next generation a better future. So With that being said, we have to put in place technology that's here now, investing in the future. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to serving you guys.
Thank you. Claudia?
Thank you. When it comes to climate, I think we have to think about what we need to do, who we do it with, and how we know it's working. What we need to do, the things within our control locally are land use, building codes, how a lot of the emissions come from building and energy, and transportation. These are the areas where we can make the biggest difference. I'm really glad my colleagues talked about transportation, is because if I'm known for anything, it's for expanding clean transit throughout King County. I fought and won the Battle of Light Rail in East King County. There's a train on my sign, and there's a reason for it. Who do we do it with? We have to do this in partnerships. The federal government has left the field. They are not working on this anymore. In fact, they're working against us. So that means it's more important than ever that metropolitan regions band together to reduce our collective emissions here and in metropolitan areas around the country and the world. That's how we drive it down. And then how do we know it's working? That's about accountability, and that piece has been largely missing. When I was the chair of the regional council, I've put into our regional plan, we need more data. If we are investing in electric buses, is that changing the trajectory or not? If it's not changing the trajectory, we need to do something else. So accountability, partnerships, and doing what we can do here in the regional area, that is how we make a difference on climate change.
Thank you, Claudia. Now, have I asked everybody that question? Okay. I have a question for the audience. When the timing for this was planned out, we assumed there would be 7 candidates here. You see only 5. So I have one more question that I could ask this panel, or we could go on to the school. Well, wait, Tim. Got to give the candidates a closing statement. Should we go on to the closing statement? So do you want the closing statements now? Raise your hand, please.
They're done with us.
How many want the last question? I think you are outvoted. But you each get a crown. Okay. Amaya, would you start us with your closing statement? 2 minutes each, please. And before you say anything, the opening statements went this way, so let's make the closing statements go that way. Okay.
So I know I do not look like the traditional politician or leader, and a lot of you are probably questioning, who is this girl? Why is she even running, right? But I believe in a change of trajectory in the way that we do things. I believe that the traditional way of people donating money and parties deciding how changes are made based off of agenda or perspective, I think those days are over. What we're trying to implement in the King County Counts campaign is a campaign that reflects the voter. Whether you have $1,000 in your account or whether you have nothing in your account, you can be a part of our community, because we don't ask for anything but your voice, but your perspective, but your vote. So I'm so glad to be here today. And as a new leader, right, I will be taking a lot of feedback, and there are a lot of things that I will have to learn, but I think that's the best part, because in that is where the real change is created. All right, thanks, guys. King County Counts, count us in. I'm Amaya Ingram. Thank you for your time.
Claudia Balducci.
Again, thank you so much for having us here tonight. King County is at a crossroads. We have had the same leader as county executive for over 14 years, almost 15 years, and it's the first time we will have new leadership in a long time. There's been a lot of big visions at King County. Best starts for kids, crisis care centers. You vote for all of these things. Thank you very much, voters. You have supported many big visions. What we need to do is deliver on those visions. There has not been a single crisis care center built or opened since we passed our crisis care center levy. The one that King County is funding was already open. It was planned by some of the cities of North and East King County. There has not been a single spade of dirt turned up at Harborview based on the capital bond that you all think you voted for several years ago now. It's time to deliver. If we want people to move out of homelessness, we need to get our institutions like the King County Regional Homelessness Authority working. They need to be delivering on the promises of housing people. There are resources that we have that are not yet being put to use. And as the candidate in this race, with the only one here with experience running a large organization and a very large budget and driving reform and actually building things, homeless shelters, permanent supportive housing, thousands of new homes near light rail. Light rail itself, I know how to implement, and that's what I want to do. I would love to represent you all at the King County Executive position to make the promise that you all have voted for into a reality that will actually change our community and make it better for everyone, because that's what I believe about local government. It makes life better. So that's what I want to do. Thank you again so much for your time tonight, and I do hope to earn your vote. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Don Rivers?
I stand here with so much experience, 2 minutes won't do it. From King County to clergyship, to knowing gang members, to understanding how this ticks and how it works. Restructuring and dealing with cultural competency is highly important. We are definitely growing, but we're not going anywhere. And if we're going somewhere right now, it's because we faltered, and that way is not the right direction. King County has to be the leader of this. The last executive did a good job. And that's what I'm going to say. Because I believe in some of the things he did, and he touched everybody in doing it. What I want to do is take it further, and I want these two to go back to work and give me a 9-seat council that I can work effectively with to solve these problems. Okay, I'm not new at this. I'm true to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Derek Chartrand.
Wow, Tim, thank you very much. Thank you. Following Don, I love that. I'm going to be the contrarian. Dow Constantine did not do us justice for these 14 years. To Claudia's assessment there as well, leadership change, we are at a crossroads where this is an opportunity for us to chart a new course. What we've done in the past has gotten us exactly where we are today. So accountability is essential for this. So we have to listen to stakeholders. We have to listen to department heads. We have to prioritize our budget. We've got to understand we need to live within our means. So that's something that I've done through the Great Recession, 2009. Our family was in debt massively. We were able, through cuts in our family budget, to get out of that debt. You've got kids and grandkids, and this is a time for you to make your voice be heard, to make sure your children and grandchildren have a bright future. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you very much. DerekChartrand.com. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all again so much for your time tonight. When I leave here, I'm going to go back home to a 1-year-old baby girl and my wife, who is pregnant with our second baby, due on Christmas Day this year. And I'm running for county executive because when they grow up, I want them to be able to afford a home. I want them to be able to walk down the streets and not fear gun violence. I want them to be able to, if they're going through a mental health issue, have access to mental health care. I want them to be able to inherit a world that is not too hot to live in. These are all things that I think we can do if we work together effectively. As the King County executive, I would work to make this a region of safety and opportunity for everyone. There was an endorsement handed down this week. I was endorsed by The Stranger, and they gave 4 reasons why we are the best candidate in this race. Number 1, they said that we have the biggest tent in the race. That means we've been endorsed by more unions, Democratic LDs, tribal nations, and elected officials in the race, from Governor Ferguson to Attorney General Nick Brown to Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal and Adam Smith, the full Democratic spectrum. They also pointed to our proven experience. I'm council chair, I've been budget chair through tough economic times. I've been an attorney. I've run and started a nonprofit organization. They pointed to big regional wins that we've passed, like increasing the minimum wage, crisis care centers, transforming unincorporated Skyway, that neighborhood that was underserved for so long. They also pointed to the fact that we have a vision for serving the most underserved communities in King County. That has been our track record. And in an era where the Trump administration is going to be harming so many of our most vulnerable communities, having an executive who has that focus on the communities who are going to be most impacted, most harmed, and using our resources to uplift them and solve problems all around the region, I think that's something that hopefully is worthy of your support. Thank you so much.
Let's give our candidates a rousing round of thank you for coming out tonight, giving us their time and their best efforts. And if the candidates would relinquish their chairs for the school board candidates, and if you would, the audience, stay in your seat, please. And would the school board candidates come forward? Sue, it's time if you would put the tents up for the school board. Let's move the water glasses away. Hi, Vivian. Pardon? Sure. Us? Oh, you know where it is? Okay. Very good. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, you're mine. Good luck.
Oh, hello. No, because that's done by two different people. So I'm sorry. Let's grab a seat. Get your name tag. Here's Vivian here. Thank you.
John Wilson's tent there. I'm going to take a picture of the fact that he's not here. Did he say why he wasn't going to come?
He never responded.
He never responded. Right.
All right. Vivian, I think you're there. You want to? Yeah, grab your name tag. Oh, yes, of course. Of course,
Oh,
Leslie.
sorry. Well, you don't know. It's okay. She is doing an accommodation for me. Oh, yeah. Oh, got it. So, got it. Oh, I took the...
I have that microphone from over there.
Where did she go? Where are you going?
are that when the green card comes up, they have 15 seconds, and when the red card comes up, that's the end of their.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, we're ready now for our school board candidates. And we have a candidate who, through her own no fault, didn't get on the handout. So I want you to listen to her. She'll give you her name so that you can write it down on your form.
Oh, give me 1 second. I'm going to get my one pager.
What? No, start, please.
Oh, okay.
We're very tight on time.
Okay. Well, my name is Julissa Sanchez. I am a first generation Mexican American. And I have been.
No, just
Oh.
give me spelling your name.
Oh, okay.
And we're done. And we got you down. on
Oh, okay.
Then we'll go to the question.
Sorry about that. My name is Julissa Sanchez. Julissa. And last name is Sanchez. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take that. Actually, your microphone is over there.
Mine? Okay.
Now, I have been disciplined by the timekeeping crew to remind you that the candidates, that the green card means you've got 15 seconds left, and the red card means time is up. Please stop. And candidates, if I can, you guys can talk amongst yourselves. I'm giving them the instructions on the microphone. You need to hold it horizontally, close to your mouth, like you're smoking a cigar. Some people say like eating ice cream. I don't agree, because eating ice cream is this way and you can't hear me. So speak into it closely and horizontally. All right. And Doris, who heads up the questions subcommittee so well over so many years, tells me I'm supposed to be saying 15 seconds when, no?
You don't say it, you just let them know in advance so that they will know.
And so I've done that?
You've done that. You've done that. Yeah.
What a heavy duty. All right. Now, we do have one anomaly here. I don't know if that's the right word. But a candidate who has a hearing impairment. I hope you don't mind me mentioning that. As a result, Sue here has a copy of the questions that all of the candidates will be asked. None of the candidates have seen anything other than the opening question we went through with the executive candidates. But as I turn to the questions for the school board, Sue will give Vivian the question one at a time. So in order to accommodate her, and we're delighted and happy to do that. So, all right. So each of you has an opening statement, please. In your opening statement, you are to answer the question that was in the email to you. Why are you a candidate for this position? What are your goals and emphasis in this position? And how will you accomplish these goals? As with the prior candidates, I'm going to read it a second time since the candidates can't actually see the screens. Why are you a candidate for this position? What are your goals and emphasis in this position? And how will you accomplish these goals? And Vivian, may we start with you, please?
Sure. Hi, good evening. I'm Vivian Song. I'm a Seattle Public School parent, a finance professional, and a former school board director. When I was on the board, I had the opportunity to visit more than 40 of our nearly 100 schools, and what I saw was truly inspiring. I saw students and educators working together in joyful and effective classrooms. But they were doing this under the overhang of a dysfunctional school district. And so I am running for school board because of that dysfunction. We have under an ill-fated school closure plan from last fall, a $100 million budget deficit that we're always trying to address, and we're doing yet another superintendent search. And I believe that I bring the financial skills, the governance experience, and the experience of community engagement that I think the district needs right now. I believe that our students really need for our community to work together to set and chart a shared vision for where this district will go. Seattle Public Schools needs a future that is fitting for the bright future of our 49,000 students. What I'd like to accomplish is that first we need to put the school district on a path to financial stability. This constant crisis management that we're doing is exhausting for students and educators. We can't cut our way to our excellence, but we can certainly take a harder look at how we are spending our resources. I've done this work before, and I'll keep fighting for budgets that better serve our students. Second, we need a diverse portfolio of schools and programs that serve the diverse needs of our students. Families want advanced learning, language immersion, inclusive special education, career pathways, and alternative models. And I believe that rigor is not the enemy of equity. It's the path to this. I understand this firsthand as someone who started my education as an English as a second language learner with a hearing disability. Finally, I think we need better governance.
Thank you. Now, Alicia, would you pronounce your name for me, please? Weil, Alicia Weil. Alicia Weil. Thank you, Alicia Weil. You're next. Are you ready, timers?
Ready? Oh, okay. Well, thank you for inviting me. Tim, thank you for being here. My name is Alicia Weil. I've been in the Seattle School District for over 10 years, serving on PTA, PTO boards, advocating for educational justice. As a parent of two amazing kids in public school and an advocate for teachers, and I just found closer? There we go. All right, thank you. I found the district very toxic, just treating our families and staff really like disposable. And in a crisis of affordable housing and mental health and violence, we really need to come together as a community. And I was brought in by community to run, so that is what I'm doing. My goals are to basically bring a superintendent, find a superintendent that is tough enough to stick it out. This is not a district that is for the faint of heart, and we need strong leadership that has a plan to bring us in as, like I said, community. When I was a kid, the school building was open to the public, and there were so many things happening and buzzing when we weren't going to school. The adults went in and did adult things. I didn't know what they did, but the school was like center of community, and I want to see that happen again. Second, I want to not just bring balance to the budget, but really bring in transparency for families and educators. One of my ideas is to create some sort of rank voting that allows the educators and families to determine, okay, I have to lose something, here's what I'm willing to lose. Because we all know sometimes we need to have a cut in our budgets. But understanding what the parents and kids and educators value is important. Oh, I ran out of time. Sorry. Maybe later, guys.
Thank you. Next, Janice White, please.
Thank you, everybody, for having me here tonight. I'm Janice White, and I'm an attorney and a mom of three students, three former Seattle Public School students who've all graduated and all went to our public schools from kindergarten through 12th grade. And I'm really proud to tell you that they're all here tonight to watch their mom do something she's never done before. And I'm really, really thrilled to have their support. And we have lived in Madrona for 27 years. I've been involved in the district as a parent advocate for close to 20 years, attending school board meetings, testifying at school board meetings, and testifying in the state legislature on education issues. I was the site council president at TOPS K-8, and I helped, while I was at TOPS, while I had students at TOPS, I helped to organize a citywide alternative schools coalition to do a presentation to the school board and to school district staff about the benefits of having alternative education programming available throughout the district. I served on a district task force about transportation. And I also have been involved for many years and served as president for 2 years of the Seattle Special Education PTSA, including, and I did that work during COVID, which was a particularly challenging time in public education, not just in Seattle, but throughout the country, but especially here in Seattle for students with disabilities. I'm running because I think we need people on the school board who have roots in the community, who have a strong connection to the district, deep knowledge of how the district operates, and a passion for making it better for all students. I don't have any other political ambitions, but my advocacy work over the last 15 to 20 years shows that I care about making sure that our schools do a better job of meeting the needs of all students, particularly the most vulnerable who are often overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Julis Sanchez. Julissa. Wouldn't want to lose that A.
Bonita noche, everybody. Good evening. My name is Julissa Sanchez. I am a first-generation Mexican-American Chicana, and I am a former student of Seattle Public Schools. I graduated from Interagency Academy. I am the mother of a student at Garfield High School who is now a junior, and I am a director of advocacy at Choose 180. For those who do not know what Choose 180 is, it's an organization that works with young people who are directly impacted by the school to prison pipeline or by school to prison pipeline, and to prevent gun violence, and also working to create alternatives to incarceration for young people. And I have been working in this community. I was raised in the Central District. I went to Washington Middle School. And I have a 20-year proven record of working with underserved communities. And I am a English learner. El español es mi primer idioma. Spanish is my first language. And I thrive in having young people be the leaders. I thrive in centering voices of young people, and I believe that they are the ones that are going to create the solutions that we need. And I also believe that we are part of the village for these young people, and we need to uplift them in everything that we do. I am running for school board because I believe in more than Band-Aid solutions. I believe in structural change, and I also believe that schools are where we need to invest in order to deter any kind of homelessness or involvement with the criminal justice system. Our, no, okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, I got excited. Okay.
All right. Vivian, would you go next?
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought that question was the previous question.
Did you get the question?
Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
What's that? No, I have not given number 2 yet.
Oh, I was the very first person to go.
Yes, and you went in the opening question.
Yes.
And then the question after that is, what do you consider to be your prime responsibility as a school board member? Well, okay. So we're on this one. Okay, the numbering system here has me confused.
Okay.
So let me read that question to the panel. What do you consider to be your prime responsibility as a school board member, and do you have time to devote to a sometimes thankless job? You may begin, Vivian.
Okay, thank you. So the state law actually lists the roles and responsibilities of school board directors. And I think the one that I think is the prime responsibility, the one that really resonates with me, is to be a community representative. And that is quite time consuming. I can say that from my experience when I was previously on the school board, but it was something that I felt was absolutely vital because it is the job of the school board director to represent their community. So I spent time, as I mentioned previously, visiting over 40 schools, talking to principals, educators, and students about their experiences. We happen to have a governance framework where school board directors are somewhat pressured not to have individual community members meetings. I actually eschewed this. I had regular monthly community members meetings. Some of the fellow candidates have attended them. I think it's really important. And we need to, as a full school board, need to have engagement sessions together to make sure that we're hearing from community. Thank you.
All right, Sulisa Sanchez, please. Julissa
Sanchez. Can you repeat the question, or I can?
Here, you can look at this one.
Thank you. Well, the prime responsibility as a school board member is to represent our young people. It's to create these policies that are going to impact young people for generations to come. It is to center and invite communities who are often left out of the table and when these policies are being created. It is listening to young people. It is listening to parents. It is creating spaces and multilingual. We are a diverse county and city where we need to make sure that all the young people are listened to and their families as well. And that is what the school board director's main role is. Because if we are passing budgets and we're passing policies, send me 15 seconds. Oh, sorry.
You have 15 seconds.
Thank you. Sorry. If we're passing budgets and policies that do not reflect the lived experiences and needs of our community, as a school board members, we are failing. Thank you.
Thank you. Alcia? Alicia.
There you go.
Wow.
Thanks, Tim. I consider community engagement, community growth, involvement as my main job. So pushing into schools, talking to the staff, talking to kids, going to their clubs, going to the PTA meetings, going to the places of worship of the families, being as accessible as possible is the job that I believe the school board should be doing, and engaging with them, listening, because each school is its own ecosystem. What, what Madrona Elementary needs is going to be very different than what Tops needs. What Leshai needs is going to be very different than McGilvery. So understanding that first and foremost, so that I can advocate for those families and, make policy specifically for those ecosystems. Youth empowerment was actually my third priority, so come back around to that. Youth empowerment and educator empowerment, having a promotional pathway, as well as...
Thanks.
Sure.
Janice?
So we sometimes hear that school board directors can only do really three things. They can write and adopt policy, they can hire and evaluate the superintendent, and they can approve the budget. But I think they can do a lot more than that. And as an attorney, when I decided to run, I started by looking at the state statute regarding the responsibilities of school board directors. And right in the very beginning of that statute, it says that the school board is accountable for the proper operation of the district. Not the superintendent, but it's the school board that is to be held accountable for the proper operation of the district. So I think that to do that, as a school board director, you have to be in community because you can't really know if the district is operating properly unless you know how families and students and educators who are in the buildings are experiencing it. And so if elected, I would visit every school in District 5 at least once every school year. I would hold community meetings, and I would engage with communities within the district who work with youth. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready for question 2? How do you define your authority, responsibilities, and limitations as a school board member in relationship to the superintendent of schools? How do you define your authority, responsibilities, and limitations as a school board member in relation to the superintendent of schools? Janice, you spoke to those issues quite a bit. Do you want to start us off with following that question?
Happy to. So, as I said before, the school board is responsible for hiring and evaluating the superintendent. And so that does mean that as a school board director, you have to have hard conversations sometimes with the superintendent about whether or not the district is operating as intended. As school board directors, you can't really get involved, and you shouldn't get involved in day-to-day management of the district or of schools. That's the superintendent's job and the staff's job to do. But you are responsible for setting the goals, setting the policies, setting the vision, reflecting back to staff, to the superintendent, what the community wants to see in their schools, to make sure that we're providing the best opportunities that we possibly can to help our children succeed. And so you're responsible, I think, to have that continuing dialogue with the superintendent to make sure that the work is consistent with the goals that you've set.
Vivian Song?
The authority for school board directors comes from the very people and community members that voted them into office. But I think something that gets often missed is that we don't serve in isolation. We serve as a small legislative body. There's 7 people who are elected, and we have to work together as a team to achieve the vision and goals that our community has defined for us. The responsibilities, I think, are outlined quite clearly in state statute. That includes being a community representative, as Janet says, the operations of the school district. It includes supervising and evaluating the superintendent, and also includes passing the budget. All of that work needs to be done as a body of 7. And the limitations. So I had the opportunity to serve on a national fellowship for school board directors from all across the country. And this is the exact issue that we were constantly grappling with, because we often hear from community members about very specific issues that their students are dealing with. And so I think it's really important that we...
Thank you. Julissa Sanchez, please.
Wow, yeah, muy bien.
You're mocking me.
No, we're giving you. Well, I defined my authority and responsibilities as a school member, if elected, truly to the communities that would put me there. Really is about the transparency and accountability in what is it that the students need, what is it that the parents need, what is it that the educators need, and making sure that we are accountable to what we said we're going to do and how we're going to meet the needs of community. And if the district and if the superintendent is not living up to those expectations, then it's time to have a dialogue and to pivot. And then create and re-envision and reimagine the work that we need to do. And the limitations is, like my comrades have said, is making sure that we are the ones over seeing things but not doing the nitty-gritty. Thank you.
Alicia Weil?
So close, so close. Alicia Weil, thank you. So I would define my authority, like Julissa said, and Vivian said, to community first and foremost. You guys put us there. We owe you what we said we're going to do while we're there. So working in partnership with other boards, advocating for those schools that we represent and the families that we represent, and making sure that the district works for all families, not just the loudest that can attend board meetings, because not everyone has the time, energy, and can get there. It's a very there's a lot of barriers to testify at school boards, and I think the impression is that a lot of families that do show up are the ones that care, and the ones that don't show up are the ones that don't care. So my goal is to make sure that we don't walk away with that. Okay, 15 seconds. All right, let's do this. Yeah, holding the superintendent accountable, making sure that if he does not do the job he set out to do, he is gone, as well as the head of the departments within the school.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, last question. Number 3. What priorities would you use in making budget decisions to address anticipated funding shortfalls from the state and federal government? I'll read it again. What priorities would you use in making budget decisions to address anticipated funding shortfalls from the state and federal government? And at the risk of mispronouncing her name, Ms. Weil, if you will start out the answers.
Sure.
1 minute, and then we will go to the closing statement, where
Okay.
each of you has 2 minutes. And I think for us, I'm going to start at Janice. Why? And just go down here so you know what to anticipate.
Sounds great. Thank you. Data. I mean, I think that if we can look at all the programs that SPS is invested in and really see what programs are thriving, what programs are not doing well, and giving us the outcome that they are supposed to, then we have a more informed way of cutting those programs. Having family input, like I said earlier at the top of this, I think that putting the decision for at least some of the cuts in the hands of families and educators, as they have to live with the consequences of those cuts, is important. And prioritizing those families that are what we call furthest away from educational justice. So communities that are not prioritized by the district time and time again, multilingual learners, those kids that are about to be affected by the loss of SNAP, below the poverty line, families being pushed out by the housing crisis. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Julissa Sanchez.
Well, the budget is really a reflection of what we value, and it's really a reflection of what we value. It's really a reflection about what we care about. And I work in juvenile justice and prevention, and when the state is allocating $33 million into building a new juvenile facility, when we can be investing those millions of dollars into schools, into prevention work, that is where I would be advocating for more revenue into schools, into prevention work, and definitely putting students first so that they can let us know what is it that they need to thrive, and allocating the money in the budget to those pockets, and exploring public-private partnerships.
Thank you.
And investments. Thank you.
You could make that point in your closing statement. Vivian Song?
So I'd start by looking at spending money on what actually works. Unfortunately for us, the budget that we have right now is not driving the academic outcomes that we want. The school district has ambitious reading goals, math goals, and college and career readiness goals for our students, and we are far from achieving that. And so I think we need to re-examine how we are actually allocating staffing and resources to individual schools. I'll give you an example. Related to our third grade reading goal, we currently do not have reading specialists in every single one of our elementary schools. So there isn't a staff member at each building who is directly responsible for helping the students who are furthest from that goal make some progress. I think we also need to examine the full budget. We currently really only look at 60% of the budget. 40% of the budget goes unexamined by the school board. And we need to make sure that that is actually being spent on the things that we deem effective for the school district. Wow, it goes fast.
Thank you. Janice White.
So, in asking what priorities would I use in making budget decisions given a challenging fiscal environment, I think the value that I would apply in looking at those decisions is prioritizing funds that directly affect students' experiences in the classroom. And to the maximum extent possible, if we have to make painful budget decisions, that we have to make sure that we're prioritizing that students are getting the support that they need in the classroom. Vivian spoke earlier about governance issues in the district, and one of the problems we have is that the school board got rid of its regular committees, and even though we have a budget deficit of roughly $100 million the last few years, we don't have a budget committee right now, or finance committee, regular finance committee on the school board. And I think we need to bring that back so that we can examine spending in relationship to budgeting decisions.
Thank you, Janice. And would you start the opening statements, please?
Closing. Yeah.
The closing.
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much. Thank you again for having us here tonight and giving us this chance to talk to you. I spoke earlier about my experience as a parent in the schools and the knowledge I've developed about how our school district operates and how our schools operate. I also want to just shine a light for a moment on my experience as having been an attorney for over 40 years. And I started my practice in New York City, where I handled cases against some of the largest law firms in New York City and had to handle cases involving some very complex financial issues, which I had to learn how to address. And so I think that some of those skills that I've developed over 40 years of work are useful skills on the school board. As a lawyer who does trial work, I know when I'm not getting the full story. And I know how to ask questions to get the information that I need in order to be able to make hard decisions. I also want to highlight my subject matter expertise in special education, which I gained as a parent advocating for one of my own children throughout their journey through the public school system, but also by working with the special education PTSA, talking to families from throughout the district, because the special education system, especially as it's organized in Seattle, is very complex to navigate. And families really, really struggle. And so one of the things we did when I was president of that PTSA is we wrote a guide to special education in Seattle Public Schools. It's 20 pages. We made it available in the top 10 languages spoken by families in the district, both in print and online for free. And I personally presented that guide at over 50 schools throughout the city to help educate families and give them a voice in navigating the system.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Vivian Song, please.
I'm really passionate about public education because public education transformed my life. As I mentioned, I started my education as an English as a second language learner with a hearing disability, and it was really because I had incredibly devoted teachers that I am the first woman in my family to have graduated from college. And I want to make sure that that opportunity exists for every single Seattle public school student. my priorities for the time that I serve on the board are to finally pursue a budget that really serves our students. And I believe I have the financial skills. When I was on the school board, I asked really hard questions about our budget. And when the school district wasn't forthcoming about them, I did my own analysis. I went to OSPI, the state superintendent, downloaded the data. I found parent volunteers who had the computer programming skills to help me unpack that. And that's how we were able to identify things like, we have extra $30 million in cash one year. Why were we proposing to lay off all of our librarians when we have a very ambitious third grade reading goal for our students? I think this district really needs to have a strong vision for the programs and the services, that it needs to be a diverse portfolio that really meets the diverse needs of our students and also draws families back into our school district. Seattle Public Schools really needs to be a district of choice. And the second part of that is that it will help us with our financial needs. And the governance structure really needs to be changed. I was very frustrated when I was on the school board and was not allowed to have community meetings. I ignored that. I was frustrated when the school board voted to cancel committees. I voted against that. I think it's going to take somebody who has had firsthand experience with governance, who has had firsthand experience with this governance framework, to really pinpoint what are the pinches, what are the challenges that are holding us back. I'm going to be ready to work for this school district from day one.
Thank you very much. Julissa Sanchez, please.
Thank you for having me here tonight, especially last minute. And we do have one-pagers for you all to have and to look at outside if you guys want to know more about me. My priorities really are to build a safe and inclusive schools where every student thrives, and ensuring responsible, transparent budgeting that puts student first, and building trust as a bridge between the district and our communities. I believe that I am the only Seattle Public Schools student from this forum, and I experienced the things that Seattle Public Schools lacked, especially as a English learner. And I'm also now a mother of a student at Garfield that understands the complexities to navigate this system, especially as a first-generation Mexican-American. And I really want to ensure, especially in this time, that students from immigrant, undocumented communities and English learners feel safe and welcomed at school. And I want to make sure that they feel safe and welcomed at the school board meetings by having a school board meeting that is in different languages, in Russian, in Polish, in Spanish, in Amharic. And I truly believe that the school board should do nothing about young people's lives without having them at the center of creating policy. And I have worked with young people since the age of 15, and I work with young people now, and I empower young people to use their voice to create system changes throughout the state, throughout the city, and throughout the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weil.
Thank you. My name is Alicia Weil. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. As a parent for two kiddos coming up through Seattle Public Schools, and having spoken to teachers, staff, other kids, other parents about their frustrations with this district, over those 10 years, advocating against closures of my own kids' school, I feel distinctly uniquely qualified to bring a new perspective to the district. I am an entrepreneur, gig worker, and understand that when the housing crisis that's going on in Seattle affects us all. So I would work really hard to prioritize making sure that we have policy that speaks to that makes sure that families, educators don't get pushed out of this district, because I think that's who's leaving. That's why they're leaving, is they can't afford leaving in this district. I would also center having curriculum that reflects kids because they stay more engaged. That's what the data shows us. Though I'm a creative at heart, like I am a science nerd. Like I appreciate what our science researchers tell us, and so that would be my guiding light. And I'm very ferocious when it comes to protecting all kids. I'm big mama bear energy, so that would be my another priority of just making sure that all kids feel safe and engaged in their school site, and prioritizing violence intervention programs in our communities as opposed to bringing in SPD to do that. Thank you. I also just want to see more community involvement in general. We have so many universities and colleges around Seattle, so I don't understand why we don't have more partnership with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you give a big hand to our candidates who have taken the time this evening and for running for what is admittedly a often thankless task? As a former school teacher, you have my sympathy.
Thank you for your service.
And truly, thank you all for being here with us at 9:15 p.m.
I want to thank, if you would give me one more minute, I want to thank some people who helped make this evening quite possible. May Gerstel, Laura Weiss, Doris Ray and her able assistant, Sandy Bergen, Sue Mitchell, Vicki Curry, and Ronnie Budge. Thank you. And our AV people, Risa and Chase, thank you so much. We are adjourned.